To avoid state aid penalties for inappropriately assigning teachers, we should spend some time talking about what is appropriate. We get a lot of questions and a lot of calls about courses and who can teach them. What this tells me is that you're being conscientious, and I applaud you for your efforts. But unfortunately, I cannot design the master schedules for all of your schools. There is only one of me, and there are hundreds of you. So this portion of the presentation is designed to make this easier for you. We're also in the process of designing a tool that will help in this process. So if you look at the slide and get out your reading glasses, Michigan has just a few, endorsement areas. These are the endorsement areas currently issued, as well as those that we no longer issue but are held by some Michigan teachers. So once they hold it, we don't take it away. It continues to remain on their certificate. Even though we discontinue an endorsement, and those that have the little asterisk next to them on the slide are the ones that we have discontinued at the program preparation level. They are not removed from a teacher's certificate. We're often contacted to determine the appropriate placement of a teacher or asked who can teach a particular course. Well, we do require that teachers assigned to a course that falls within one of these many subject areas that they hold the appropriate endorsement. To be clear, our office does not deal with electives. This is a term that is quite often used inappropriately within the scope of certification. Regardless of whether or not a class is offered for credit to graduate, if we have an endorsement for it, and look at this hefty list, we've got an endorsement for it, then the teacher must hold that endorsement. So if I get a question about, well, it's for an elective credit, is it an English class? Yeah. Then I don't care if it's an elective. It's still an English class, and you need to have an English endorsed teacher teach it. Look, another list. It just keeps going. These are also considered endorsements in Michigan, but they are somewhat different from the previous list, since they're seen as more pedagogical or based upon a specific setting. So the context under which a subject area is taught. You'll note that special education endorsements are listed on here, the bilinguals, early childhood, teacher of the homebound. There are a lot of endorsements that are more about the context in which something is taught. Also note that CTE is identified on this slide, but I did not list all of the CTE endorsements. We call those the V codes. But to be clear, CTE programs require that the teacher assigned hold the appropriate occupational certificate, not just the V code on a provisional or professional certificate. They must hold the occupational certificate. The V code is an indicator to the administration that this person should hold an occupational certificate in addition to the professional or provisional. The interim occupational and the occupational certificates have separate requirements to obtain, but in general, they mirror the provisional and the professional certificates, specifically in the renewal and the progression. So this next page is just a short list. I think there's 2 slides. We have several guidance documents that have been created to assist with determining the appropriate endorsed or certified teacher for a teaching placement. And we are working to create an electronic document that will combine both the existing documents that we've currently updated or are in the process of updating and a few new ones. So this is your preview into something that most have not seen yet. The first one has been around since approximately 2011. Appropriate instructional assignments for elementary certified teachers. We are revising it. Due to the end of the ZA early childhood programs and the introduction of the ZS endorsement, which is early childhood, general, and special education, this document needed updated. It has been reported to us that there still is confusion surrounding the appropriate use of the ZA and now the ZS endorsements. This endorsement alone, or the ZA and the ZS, does not authorize the holder to teach in an elementary, and by elementary I mean kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and so on. The teacher must hold the elementary certificate and not just the ZA or the ZS endorsement. The ZA, ZS endorsements are technically not required for a regular kindergarten position. It is a specialization that may or may not be desired by the school, but it is a school and a local decision. Please make note that you may wish to reconsider posting new positions that state you're requiring a ZA endorsement. Because the ZA endorsement has been discontinued, you are going to be limiting your pool. So just the ZA will eliminate all of those new ZS holders from your application pool. The second document listed here has been given a new life. This is the infamous Classes That Can Be Taught document. Raise your hand if you have used this document. Okay, good. I think I just heard someone say they sleep with that document. It's awesome. It is a handy tool, but it needed a major overhaul and a revision. The newest version is going to be called, quick reference, Courses That Can Be Taught. And we wanted to give it a new title so that it has a new life. We have eliminated the highly qualified aspects from this document. We felt that it was muddying the waters a bit, so this will be strictly the courses, and all of the endorsements will be listed, which might make a lot of people happy. So all the endorsements will be listed on this document, and they will have special notes in that final column that used to hold NCLB comments. It will include pieces that are Tiger tidbits. Where's Stephanie? She loves to use that. Tiger tidbits about each endorsement and how it can be properly used and which type of courses and different things along those lines. So while this old document is still available on our website, we'll be removing it as soon as our new draft is available. I have included just the first page of this document in your materials this morning. Hopefully you have that. This document should be used for departmentalized placements. So we have self-contained placements and departmentalized placements. You're going to find departmentalized placements at your middle school. So at some point, you're going to switch to departmentalized at your middle school and at your high school level. So with this document, together with the appropriate instructional elementary assignments document, we'll be covering the full K-12 scope. So for your departmentalized placements, you would look to the Classes That Can Be Taught document. For your elementary placements, you should be looking to the first document listed on this slide. So the course planning template is a collaborative effort. It has not been put out yet, but it's a collaborative effort between MDE, the curriculum staff at MDE, CTE office at MDE, the CEPI office, which manages the REP, the Registry of Educational Personnel, and OPPS. It is a wonderful project. It's morphed out of absolutely nowhere. I'm not even sure how we found ourselves in the middle of it, but I'm very excited, as is Phil, about helping to create this tool which will be invaluable to you as you staff your classrooms. It's a template that walks you through the various codes that are used for the TSDL and for REP reporting. It will utilize drop-down selection tools and make it easier to see the connection between what we are now going to be calling the 6 C's to consider. Now, perhaps you've heard me mention the 3 C's before: certificate, course title, and content. I've upped it a little bit. Now we have 6 C's. The 6 C's are, I'm going to show you a slide in a few seconds here. They are our attempt to do our best to assist you in thoughtful consideration as you hire and place teachers. So in addition to the template, we'll be providing you with many examples of how to use the electronic tool. There will be samples of walking through in different classes and so forth. So here's the next 3 guidance documents. These will also be included in the tool. You may or may not be familiar with these documents, but we hope that pulling them together into a single electronic manual or into a single website that we can utilize will help to complete this planning tool for you. The last document on this in this tool will be this one, and this is your first preview to something brand new. This is our placement consideration graphic. Sneak peek, it's a draft where we might tweak it a little bit, but this is what we have. So I want to walk you through this for a minute. The 6 C's to consider. The certification and endorsement listed on a Michigan teaching certificate indicates the corresponding preparation program that a teacher has completed. It indicates what the teacher has been prepared to teach. Did you know that on our website you can actually view the standards for the teacher preparation programs for each of the endorsement areas that we issue certificates for? So if you are curious to know how a teacher was prepared if they hold the journalism endorsement, you could look at the journalism standards and see what preparation they've had to know whether or not they're appropriate for a type of course that you're wanting to offer. The context is the next one. It refers to the requirements related to funding source, for example, special education, Title I, career and technical education. It's the context under which the content is taught. This is key to identifying whether or not a specialty or a pedagogical endorsement is required. And that was that second massive slide of endorsements that I showed you. The code is how the course and the teacher are going to be reported. This is where the rep assignment code and the codes used in TSDL are key. If you're hiring an English teacher, but you're reporting them as a journalism teacher, there's a bit of a disconnect. Okay? So thinking about how you're reporting the teacher. Those of you who have been around a while might remember we eliminated the social science assignment code from rep, and we got a lot of questions and concerns. But what do I do with all my teachers with the CX endorsement? Are they really teaching social science? Well, no, they're teaching history. Report them as history. So you want to make sure that what you're reporting them as is the appropriate code for what they're teaching. So obviously the curriculum, the next one there, or the content of the course should be a driving factor in how the title of the course and how you title the course and how you staff it. A part of the tool that we are putting together will have content standards that you can select. And as you're building the course, if you select multiple content standards that cover math and some that cover science, that should help to paint a picture of who the appropriately certified teacher should be to staff that course. So finally, the intended Michigan merit credit is important. If you're calling a class science fiction, this is my favorite example, I do love this one, science fiction. I hope I'm getting a lot of blank stares, because when I got that one, I think my mouth kind of dropped open and I had a blank stare on my face. Who can teach science fiction? I don't even know what that is. Is it an English class? Is it a science class? Is it both? So offering a science fiction class and telling me that it's for English credit answers my question, doesn't it? Well, it must be an English class, and you should have an English certified teacher staffing it. But if you tell me it's a science credit, my whole perspective changes. Okay? So we hope to roll this guidance tool out in January of 2015. So be on the lookout for it. That's our goal, and we hope to produce that and have it available to you for the 2015-16 school year. So now that you have figured out what you want, what if you can't find that person? MDE recognizes that these areas are difficult to staff based upon a couple factors. First, the EPI recommendations. If we're only getting 4 a year, it's going to be hard to find those teachers. If we're getting 200 a year, it shouldn't be difficult. But it's also based upon the districts requesting permits in a specific subject area. This isn't to say that in your school you aren't struggling to find teachers in other subject areas that are not listed on this slide, but these seem to be consistently difficult statewide. Please note, and I'm going to throw this in here, it's kind of a random thought, but you need to be aware, the retiree shortage list that we have produced historically, it was produced in accordance with MCL 38.1361. It was amended by House Bill 5261 in 2012, and it will no longer be produced as the law for that expired July 1 of 2014. So unless another bill comes around to put that back in place, we are not creating a shortage list for the purpose of retirees. This section, this retiree bill or law, allowed the employment of retirees providing exemption from their earning limitations and limited their period of employment to 3 years. So it gave you the ability to hire back someone who is retired in an area of shortage. But it has sunset. There isn't anything in place currently. So if you cannot find a teacher, here's what we need from you. We need you to post it. Be thoughtful in your postings. If you need a biology teacher, post for biology DA, integrated science DI, and science DX. While the science DX is an endorsement we no longer issue, we have many teachers out there that hold it. If you only posted for a DI, you would limit your pool of candidates. If you only posted for a biology teacher with the DA endorsement, again, you would limit your pool of candidates. So do not limit your options too soon. Spread your net far and wide. They also get very confused by your requirements for highly qualified in your postings, especially if it's special education. For those of you who have worked directly with special education staffing and are more familiar with the intricacies of highly qualified in special ed, it's directly tied to the students and what the teacher is teaching to those students, how the classroom is structured, whether it's self-contained or departmentalized, and a teacher who is applying for a job is not going to know any of those things. So to ask them if they're highly qualified for the position is very difficult for them to answer. They will be guessing. If you just want them to guess, then that's what you're getting. Okay? There's no way that your applicants are going to know the answer to those questions, so be thoughtful about how you post those types of positions. Please, please, please utilize our program database as well. If you are looking for a Chinese teacher to teach your Chinese language program, posting it in a job bulletin at a university that doesn't even offer a Chinese language endorsement program is not going to be productive. You want to post it at a university that offers a Chinese language program. And we have a database on our website that you can use to search out those universities that have endorsements in specific areas. So even if you are in the Upper Peninsula and you are trying to find a teacher, if they have the program at Eastern Michigan University, use their job placement bulletin. If they have it at Grand Valley, use it at their job placement bulletin. So post it far and wide and see if you can locate those teachers. The link is on our website, or on our slide here. So that didn't work. You've posted it far and wide, and you have a very limited candidate pool and no one with the appropriate endorsement. Well, first of all, let me also say that if you've posted and haven't found anyone with the endorsement, if you're asking specifically for the endorsement, maybe you want to change up your posting and ask for someone who has experience in the area. That's what makes them more eligible for a permit. So for example, if you're trying to find a physics teacher and you cannot find a teacher who holds a science endorsement or a physics endorsement, stop posting for the endorsement. Start posting for someone who has a degree in physics that is outside of the teaching field. They don't have an education degree, they have a degree in physics. You may find a candidate within that pool that would be eligible for one of these permits that I'm now going to talk about. So once you've exhausted your search and come up not empty-handed, but maybe with someone that is willing to and able to teach the course, you may apply for a permit. These are not waivers. They are not emergency certificates. I won't go into detail about each of these permits, but we do have a single fax document available that outlines the requirements for each, and I have provided a document that covers permits at a quick glance in your packet of materials for today. I think the most interesting one, and I'm going to touch on it real quick because we have time, which makes me happy. The tribal language MOU is in law. We are authorized to enter into memorandums of understanding with tribal communities within the state, and we can place a teacher that they select that is familiar with the tribal language, that can teach the tribal language, and they can place them in a Michigan school. And it's a wonderful program, but it has to have the MOU in place. So if you're wanting to offer one of the tribal languages, the Michigan tribal languages, this is the one that's going to be helpful for you. You just have to create a partnership with maybe a tribe in your area, or not even in your area. You never know. They might have someone that is more local in your area that can come and teach in your school. The expert in residence is another one that is relatively new. The expert in residence is limited to 2 hours a day, but for example, the physics, or I think a better example is the chemistry one. We've had instances where the school can't offer a chemistry course, They can't find a chemistry teacher to come in or someone who's certified in chemistry to teach 2 hours of chemistry. They don't need a full day of chemistry. They just need 2 hours. But the local dentist has an enormous amount of chemistry in their preparation, and this individual was willing to come in and teach chemistry for 2 hours. And under the expert in residence permit, it's a viable option. So thinking outside the box a little bit about your community. We just issued an expert in residence permit for accounting in a local Lansing area school. They had 2 hours of accounting that they wanted to offer, and there's a CPA right in the town that was willing to do that. So that was another example of an expert in residence. I find that one very interesting. It's an interesting permit.